Hello, welcome back to my channel, and here I am with another video. Like always, my friend, don't forget to smash that like and subscribe button, and you will learn a lot about upholstery on this channel. Here I am. What you see is a 1967 Chevy station wagon, and what am I gonna show you right here? It is how you can make a center console from scratch. Sometimes when you add a speaker, you have to add like a metal screen, and that requires time. All depend what the customer want, the shape what the customer want on the center console. And you can see it have a center console already. It is all plastic. The customer don't want that, so I will remove that one. See how it is all loose, and I removed that one already. The customer don't want that one. I will add all those one. All those gauges, I will add them on the center console. Before you start cutting the center console, you have to figure out how big or wide will be, because you have to put all those things. He want a cup holder too, and will be like down, then will be up. I have a loom board just to make a pattern. Sometimes I made the pattern out of the hardboard, but I will use wood on this time. I will cut them on there a little by little until I get that right shape. Sometimes the customer bring exactly what he want, like a picture and with the dimension and all those kind of things. And in this case, he just give me like a small idea, and I start putting that idea into that real thing. Will be to right there. There will be like armrest, something like that. He has to see it, and according to his size, if he's tall, the center console you have to be a little bit lower, and like that. See, I draw it right there. There will be a center console lips, and will be down right there. And I got that check. This is what he brought me. Interesting, right? That doesn't tell me nothing at all. It's just an idea. He just give me an idea what he want. But I start figure out the dimension. That I was using that wood. This is a half inch thickness, and I put the pattern on top, and I will start cutting the pattern, and then the two center console side at one time. The driver side is not the same as a passenger side, so you will see something a little bit different on the wood. I am cutting both at the same time. I am using a jigsaw. You can cut everything with jigsaw, but I will using a circular blade later on. And you see I am using a circular saw. To cut it straight, I always use the circular blade saw. Way easier. You can control it so easier. Always when you are going to cut wood, make sure to cover your face, your eyes. It is very important, very important, especially when you are using a circular saw. A lot of dust, a lot of wood remaining. And I am using the jigsaw on those cord right there. Same thing right here. And I got the two pieces. I'm going to drill a hole. I got the two sizes together. I drill a hole. Why am I drilling that holes in there? That will help me at the end, because there will be a wood, and there's only like a guide for the staple the other piece of wood. So this is the passenger side, and you see, and I am cutting right there. On the driver's side, I just gonna leave it like a little bit different. Then you will sand it all. Make sure to any bump sanded. And I am sanding it by hand, but I can use a pneumatic tool too. Example, on those corners, it's way easier with pneumatic tool, way easier. Then after I sand it, I bring the wood and I put it right here. And the cup holder will be, if it fit like that, I will put them on like that. But sometimes because the space between those two seats is not enough, you have to figure out how to put them on. And the gauge will be right here. Always, before you are going to start wrapping with vinyl, you have to make sure that you can remove the center console easily and put it back easily. In case if you cannot put it in or take them out, you have to make it on pieces. So you can figure out right there the width. I'm gonna give you like 9 inches on the bottom and between 10 or 11 inches on the top. See, you had 10 in there. You have to figure out 11 inches, and right here will be way less, will be like between 7 or 8 inches. Keep in mind that when you put the center console between the seat, those seats, don't make it so tight. Don't make it so tight. So I got already figured out right here. It had 9 inches. You can see him on there. And right here, this is the center piece. It had 10 inches. I will make them on pieces. 9 inches. 10 inches. And right here we'll have like 11 inches. As you can see the difference between the front part of the center console and on the back. 3 inches different. And I cut in all those pieces of wood. And I got the 3 pieces already. So I just sanded. And I have it right here. Always, before you start wrapping with vinyl, make sure to fit in that space. This will be on the front and this will be on the back. I am making those thin because the customer don't want to screw it to the floor. So what is the purpose of those thin? Those like a bracket. Is to keep the center console in place. Don't move to the left or don't move to the right. That is the purpose. You don't want to bolt it into the car. So I just come and cut those thin out of wood. And I will cut the other 3 pieces. Sometimes when with 2 pieces is more than enough, but on this time because the center console is big, I am putting 3 pieces and will be like that. The front one is like 10 inches, the middle one is like 9, and the back is like 10 inches. So you're going to put those gauges. You have to figure out first, the customer has to let you know where he want it, on the top or on the bottom. Sometimes we say on the bottom, and on the bottom is not enough space. So you have to tell him that it doesn't fit on the bottom, so you have to put them on the top. I will put the 3 small on the top, the big one on the bottom, and always make sure how big are those gauges before you figure out the center console. Always, because if you figure out the center console, the width, and then you try to figure out those one, and it's not enough space, you will be in trouble. You have to make them again. I am putting wood glue. It is very important to put a wood glue. A lot of people don't put a wood glue. Sometimes they put a fiberglass, and I prefer using a wood glue. When you have a speaker, a big boombox on the center console, you have to make it so strong, so strong. See, it's one piece. This center console is gonna be all one piece. It's gonna be huge. Sometimes you cannot make it on one piece because you won't be able to put them in, and you won't be able to take them out in case you put them in. So you have to make the center console on pieces, cut it, and wrap it with vinyl. Sometime on 2 pieces. Here, because the front have 11 inches and the back have 8 inches, I have to put this clamp to bring those pieces together and put a staple. See? Same thing right here. And I put him in as a staple right now. I will put him more later on. I just bring it to the car and I put him on there, and you can see this bracket. You have to mark it where you're gonna put it. The purpose of those things is to keep the center console in place. I won't bolt, I won't screw it to the car. I'm not gonna put nothing in there. So you can use those things as adjusted too. Okay, after I put those pieces of wood, I have to keep working, cutting wood, filling those holes, and uh, check this out. I can make that part in 3 different ways, but look how I'm going to make it. I just put glue on that piece and put a staple right there. Hold it with the staple. Okay. I can make the cover out of vinyl because it will be vinyl right there, but it will be so hard for me to cover that piece. So I'm going to cover that piece of wood separate at the end. I just put it right there. That way you can see how that will be. Then I sand it. I made sure no staple, no because sometimes when you put the staple, you can see the staple doesn't go all the way in, and you have to sand it or cut it or make sure go in because you can see the bump through the vinyl. I draw right there, then I am cutting. That would be the left of the center console. There are so many different ways how you can do that part that I am carrying right now. So many different ways. I make it so simple. And if you see me, I'm using a different tool, mini saw cutter or pneumatic tool. Uh, I am using this kind of tool because it's simplified. But in case if you don't have it, you can do everything with the jigsaw. It will take you more time, but you can do it. See, I make it that piece. It's a little bit loose, that piece, not a big deal. I will add another sheet board in there, and that will make that piece go tight. And this will be on top. So as you can see, I suggest a customer to change the cup holder, go for the smallest one, because the too big one, it doesn't fit straight in there. He say, no, put this one. And the only way how you can put those one is put them on one on each corner. See, that one on the left corner, the other one on the right corner. And now we're using this vinyl. I will put a French stitch in there, and you have to cut the material. Sometimes when you don't have enough material, you have to use a leftover to make the pattern. And always uh, do that in case if you don't have enough material. You can wrap it out of leather, out of vinyl. Marine vinyl is perfect. And start measurement, everything measurement, and then go with those measurements and start cutting the material. Or make a pattern to start tracing the vinyl that I am going to use. So that means I am not going to make a pattern. I put some mark in there. Those will be notches on the vinyl, because that shape that I have, I recommend you to put a lot of notches, a lot of mark. And then put in a little bit of glue, just enough to hold the vinyl until I trace it. And I start tracing according to the shape of that wood. And you will be the same thing. Sometimes the console, it is so simple that you don't have to put a stitch. You can make it on one piece. But this one, it is impossible to make it on one piece. So that's what I am tracing and making pieces. After I trace it, I cut the vinyl. Always give it for the seam allowance. I usually give like 1/2 inch. Some people give like 3/4 of an inch, and some give it like 1/4 of an inch for the seam allowance. I'm only going to show you how to trace one side. This is one side. The other side, I can cut it by this one. It's not necessary to go on trace it on top of the wood. No, it is not necessary. When do you have to trace it? Both pieces, when the sides are not the same. And right here, I cut a small piece of vinyl, make a small split in there, because if I don't make it, it won't. The vinyl won't mold it to the wood. And I got that piece. Those two pieces, left and right, are the same, so I can, by this one, I can cut the other one. This vinyl doesn't stretch a lot, eh? It's two-side stretch. Some vinyl are four-side stretch. This is only two-side stretch. And you might ask him, are you going to put a padding on there, like a phone? Yes, I will. I will. So you might say, why you don't put phone and then you trace a vinyl on top of the phone? This vinyl is two-way stretch. The font that I will going to add is a 1/4 of an inch headliner font. So that's not a much padding. The vinyl is two-way stretch, so it will be perfect. Sometimes when the vinyl doesn't stretch at all, I recommend you to put the padding first and then cut all those pieces or leather or vinyl that you're going to put. That is when the material that you're going to use, it doesn't stretch at all. Like leather, sometimes leather it doesn't stretch. So if that is the case, put the font that you're going to use and then put the letter on top and start tracing. And I got one side just a folder I have and made a mark on the other side. And same thing right here. I glued the vinyl, I made a split, I start marking. Sometimes a lot of people ask me, why don't you use plastic to make that pattern? Sometimes I use plastic to make that pattern. It's way easier to make a pattern with plastic because you're seeing where those marks are, where those where the line is. Sometimes I use, especially I use them on the dashboard or door panel. But right here it is so simple. And I got that piece already. I just put them on top and you can see I got all those pieces already. I got that one, I got the other side. And what is next? I'm going to take it to a sewing machine. Okay, first thing, make sure when you are going to put a top stitch, um, a top stitch or double stitch. I made the first stitch as small as possible. And you see I end up putting padding on the vinyl. I got the first piece and so in those small pieces. See, if you are don't have a lot of experience or you just barely start working on upholstery and you are thinking you're going to confuse with all those pieces, just put a number. Number one, I have to sew number one with number two, and number two to number three. That way you don't get confused. Because I know some center console or some seat, you have to cut a lot of pieces to make it. And sometimes you can get confused, especially when you don't have a lot of experience. So I saw those two small pieces. And make sure all those notches match each other, one on top of the other. What happens if it doesn't match? You can be in trouble. That center console could look weird if it doesn't match. I am sewing the sides through with the center pieces together. And I'm going to do the same thing with the other side. And I make a small split in there because I don't want to force the vinyl too much. I always recommend to make a split when you are making a curve, always. So I got the center and the two sizes already. I'm going to put the back. Remember, I cut a small piece for the back, but I have to sew in those one to the rest of the pieces. Okay. Now I take it to the double needle machine to put the French stitch. The thread that I am using right here is the 210. It's a thick thread. And I am using a post machine. It is so easy when you have a post machine to put this kind of stitches. So easy. Of course, you have to learn how to use it, the machine. Because it is a double needle and you can put the stitch crooked, believe me. You can put that double stitch crooked. A lot of people don't like the double needle pulse machine. Don't like it. I love it. I love it. It's way easier on headrest, armrest, putting my French stitch on the backrest. So easy. So easy in a post machine. So simple and so easy. Save you a lot of time. This kind of machine. So, like I said before, there are a lot of different ways how you can put the lips of the center console. I'm going to use a hinges. I sanded where the hinges is. I sand the wood. I cut it a little bit. And this is the padding that I will use. It's a 1/4 inch. The vinyl is 2-wedge stretch. Stretch a lot on those sizes. So make sure to put padding. Never wrap the center console without padding. It will be so easy to scratch to read the vinyl because it doesn't have like padding. And you can use a closed cell phone in here. Closed cell phone A lot of people use them on center console. I use it too. I don't know if you haven't watched my Spanish YouTube channel. I use a lot that close cell phone for center console, for door panel, for dashboard, a lot. And I am trimming all the excess material. I got one side, and you can see him on there. And I'm going to do the same thing with the rest of the center console. And then I cut in those holes. I remove the headliner. Then I bring the cover and start putting on. Before you start, you can use a staple or you can use glue to put that cover. Before you start staple or gluing, make sure those stitches are placing right where the angle of the wood is. The top stitch has to be exactly on there, because if it's not there, no matter if you cut it perfectly and sew it perfectly, those stitches might look weird, might look crooked. So make sure to do that before you start staple or gluing. I put one staple on here. I might remove that staple later. It's just a guide. One more right here. I might remove it later. And then I start putting some more staple. Right now you can see how I have a sun ring coming there. Don't worry about it. All that wrinkle has to come out. I pull it right here. Not that much, because if I pull it a lot, that frame stitch might look crooked. And I see right here, I am paying a lot of attention to that frame stitch. I put one staple right there, and I keep putting a staple. First, I'm going to work on that hole right there on that gap. I'm going to staple right there. That is the first thing that I'm going to make. See? I pull it right here just a little bit. I might remove that staple later. So making sure that a stitch look perfect. If you notice that something is not right, you have to remove the staple or unglue it. Remember, this is just an idea. Just an idea. I have to cut it right there. At the end, there will be a small hole. The purpose of that small hole is because when the customer wants to open that part, he just can put a finger in there and lift that part. Simple. And you see all those wrinkles are coming out a little by little. It's not a big deal. See? Okay. I'm going to finish stapling. I am not going to show you the whole process, but I will put a lot of staple all around. And I already did it. I didn't show you that part. I just cutting the excess material, trimming material that is not necessary to be there. Okay, this piece of wood I'm going to cover separate it. Way easier by doing this way. Way easier. Wrap it with vinyl. I just going to cover the top side, and I put some staple. It is not necessary, believe me, it is not necessary to put a staple, but I just put them. Okay, right here, I close that gap, and I will hold that piece with the staple. If you are doing this way, just be careful because the staple can grow can go through to the vinyl and might be show from outside, and you don't want that to happen. See, it's beautiful, right? So beautiful that part. Other way, you have to cut the vinyl, sewing so many pieces in there, and glue that part with in there. Uh, it is not impossible, but it will take time. In this way, like making is way easier, and it look nice. It look beautiful. See it, look beautiful. Customer can put thing in there, can put his cell phone, can put the pens in there, glasses in there. So I cut this out of sheet board. The material that I used for the sun visor sheet board. That's what I'm using here, and I'm going to wrap with material. See, I didn't show you this part because I know it is easier, and I 100% sure that you will figure out that part without seeing me cutting. But I will show you how you can wrap it with material. I am going to use a trunk lining, black trunk lining. It look beautiful with this material, and it will look beautiful too with vinyl. Wrap it with vinyl, same vinyls, will look beautiful. But the customer want black right here, and I just put glue on both sides. And I'm just going to show you how you can wrap one piece. I put glue. I'm going to cut the excess material. And I got one piece. I'm going to do the same thing with the other one. So I am putting a lot of glue on here. I will put some staple too. Silicone, it is not necessary to put it. It is wood and this glue will work perfectly in there. And it's not going to come in undone later on. So I just put a lot of glue on here and I will do the same thing on this part right here. A lot of glue. I will let it dry and I will put some staple. And I will start gluing those pieces. There is one. Same thing with the other one. And there you can see it. And I will wrap that piece of wood with trunk lining. I will cut it a little bit more. It was loose, but it's not enough. It's still tight. I wrap it with trunk lining, and that piece is in. Should I put a screw to hold it? I will put two screws. I will put three screws. Three screws more than enough. And this is the piece that is going to be on top. So I'm going to work on this piece. This is a 1-inch thickness bond. It's a 2.5 pound of density. It's a little bit hard, and I will put them on top of the wood. And I am cutting that foam. So after that, I would put a 1 layer or 1/4 inch foam. I put glue. And I glue both pieces together. I want to keep a little bit those edges. See those edges now look a little bit rounded, and that's perfect. That's what I want. And I cut all the excess material. So now I just bring the vinyl and start tracing the vinyl. This is easier compared to the uh, center console. I will put two mark more than enough. I will glue right here just to hold the material in place till I trace it. Put a little bit. And make sure to pull right here. Okay. Now I start tracing it. For corner, then I start tracing on the top. And I cut it. Fold it by half. Make sure to cut those notches. Then I come with another piece, small, and I trace in the side. Both sizes are the same, so I'm just going to show you how you can cut mark one. And by this side, you can cut the other side. I just put a F, that means front, and I put one. I am cutting the two pieces, the two sizes at one time. There it is. I take it to the sewing machine. So simple. First stitch, when you are going to put a double stitch or top stitch, I always make this stitch small as possible. And there is one piece sewing together. And same thing with the other side. I am not going to show you how you can put the French stitch. Will be the same as I showed you a little bit on the center console. So I think to put it's not necessary. So I already put that French stitch, and is going to mount this cover. I will put it with the staple. Like I say, a lot of people use glue, whatever you feel comfortable working with, glue or stapling. I have to pull it right here. No wrinkle. Make sure whatever is from outside, it has to look plain. Inside, you can left some wrinkle in there, but try to minimize. Try to minimize. You might say, well, from outside look perfect, but from inside look with a lot of wrinkle. Remember, the customer will open that part. And that is. I'm going to put another layer. This will be wrapped with trunk lining too, exactly like I did on the inside center console. A lot of glue. And I will put some staple too. Just making sure to cover those staples. And that look, wow, so nice. Put the staple on the corner. And I put one right here, and right here. That's more than enough. A lot of people I used to neodymiums. Those are magnetic magnets for those parts. I use it. I have been using those things, and I bought it from Amazon. Neodymium or magnet on Amazon are way cheaper. Just cut the hole in there, and I will glue it. I make some split on the vinyl. That way it is not too tight. And there it is. Same thing on all those holes. This look a little bit crooked. It has to look straight. And there is the center console. You can see it. I show you on this video how you can do that center console. I didn't show you 100% process, but I would say you saw 80 to 90. I would say 80 to 90% of the process, how you can do it. It is not hard compared to some other console that I had done. This is easier. And I always say easier. And a lot of people tell me, don't say easier, because you have been working on this trade for a long time ago. And you are right if you say that. I have been working on this for almost 4 decades. It's a lot. I haven't done some other console on pieces with the speaker way harder than this. That's what I say. This center console, it is easier. And you can see them on there. Those seats are not the original for this car. Look that part. He can put his phone in there, put a lot of thing in there. and there is the cup holder. He's going to replace those cup holder. It's gonna be the same size, but it's gonna be metal or stainless steel cup holder. He's going to replace those ones. Those ones, to be honest, black plastic cup holder in there look ugly. To me, look ugly. He's going to replace it. So thank you so much for watching this video, my friend. It has been a pleasure for me to show you the whole process. And like I said before, and I will say it again, it is easier. It is easier compared to some other consoles that I had done. Some people tell me for you it is easier. I have been working on this trade for 4 decades since I reached 7 years old, but I still learning. I know there are a lot of college maybe who are watching this video that have the entire life working on this trade, 60, 70 years working on this trade. Thank you so much for watching this video, my friend. I know this video doesn't show you nothing new because maybe you already knew this thing, but I appreciate your presence on here. And for those who are barely start working on this trade, it is a beautiful trade. I love doing upholstery, and nothing is impossible. Maybe this is totally new for you. Totally new for you. But you can do it. The secret, it is this. Practice it. Practice it. That is the secret. Today you have a lot of resources from where you get a lot of information related to upholstery. There is YouTube, Facebook, book, ebook, where you can read it, where you can learn it. A lot of resources. Back then, I didn't have nothing. Believe me, I didn't have nothing. And the college who are on my age or have a lot of, let's say, 5 decades working on this trade, they were worse. They didn't have nothing maybe at all. They just learning by guessing, learning by mistake. That's the way we learn back then. Sometimes we make a lot of mistakes to make what the customer wants. Today, there is YouTube where you can see a lot of new things. You can have a whole idea how to make something just by watching a video, by reading a book. Take advantage of all this technology. Take advantage. Back then, we didn't have nothing at all. Nothing at all. So thank you so much. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button, and any comment, leave it in the comment section of this video. Thank you so much. Stay tuned for more videos. See you on the next video. Bye bye.